Can you folks hear me? Hello? Can anyone hear me? Hello? Hello? I'm going to assume you folks can hear me. Okay, well, I'm going to assume you folks can hear me, and I'm going to carry on. So search engine optimization. What is it and why you need it? Okay, before I begin, you need to stick with me to the end because I'm going to give a link. Okay, hold on a minute. Okay, I'm going to keep going here. So again, stick with me to the end. There's going to be some links and some more information at the end of the webinar. Before we begin, my name is Dwayne Haskell, and I am in no way an expert on search engine optimization, but I do it on my own websites, and I've done it for other folks. So if you're just beginning, welcome. You know, you might learn a few things. All right, search engine optimization is a series of steps done on a website as well as off to get better results when someone is looking for what your website is all about. What I mean by off is Google Maps, Google Places. Can you hear me? Hello? All right. Implementing SEO can greatly increase your visibility in the search results. I think I hear someone there. All right, so here are the results of one of my efforts on SEO for one of my websites. And it was about misting systems and plant propagation. And I used the search term, or the keyword rather, Mike McGroarty. Some of you might be familiar with Mike's name. And you'll see that this is the first page of Google after I performed SEO on one of my sites. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The majority of them, and Mike's is showing up at the bottom there. But your results might differ. Okay, and people want to know if this is advertising. No, it's not really advertising. Looking at the Google search results page, which I'll show you in just a second, having your website appear in the natural or organic free listings on the left side of the page is what we're talking about. The pay-per-click advertising ads will be at the top, shaded area, and to the right, again, as you'll see in the picture that I'm going to show you. Note that the left side of the search results below the ads are the free or organic listings, which is where the SEO pays off. So you can see here's the ads, and there's the organic results down below. You may also see some ads at the very, very far bottom of the page, depending. So how long is it going to take before you see results after optimizing your website? Well, I can't really tell you that because of, the way things change drastically from day to day, week to week. But if you never start it, you're never going to see any results. You're never going to get any benefits from it. So, if you start, you might see some fairly quick results. But again, you're not looking for immediate results here. This is an ongoing process. How much does it cost? Well, it depends. If you pay somebody to do it, they're going to charge you, by the hour or depending on how much work they have to do to your website. If you're going to do it yourself, nearly everything, if not everything, is free. All it takes is your time. So if you can spend some time fixing your website, it's not going to cost a lot, just whatever you've got in time. And once you start doing it, it'll come second nature, and it's going to take just that much less time because you're going to be doing it as you're adding content to your website. Okay, what's involved? Using keywords or key phrases, and I'm going to use the word keywords here, but keywords and key phrases are pretty much the same thing, that are relevant to your content or your product that you're selling on your website. Using your keywords where they do the most good. The URL should have your keywords should be in your content, titles, and so on. And making sure that you use your keyword in your content, but making sure that your density is adequate, meaning you use it enough times in there, but you're not using it too much, because too much is a bad thing and not enough is a bad thing. There's a balance there. And the way I like to see it is if I'm reading the article and it just sounds really, really bad because the keyword or key phrase is being used too much, that's not good. I mean, you want to write an article that sounds like it's been written for a person, but have enough of your keywords or key phrases in there to make a difference. So what's involved? Again, making sure your keywords are used in the meta descriptions, which is the small boxes. When you do your searches, you'll see the title, the URLs, and then there'll be a little description below. That description is the meta description, and you need to use your keywords in there. Using your keywords in the alt texts and titles of images, and I'll show you a little bit later on. We'll explain that a little bit. Optimizing your images to load quickly, because if your images load very slow, you will get penalized. You need them to be optimized to load fairly quickly. Heading tags, or H tags, they might be called. Internal links. Other ways, backlinks to your website from other websites, links from your website to a good relevant content. So if there's another website that's related to yours and you link to them, that'll help you. Links from social media, Twitter and Pinterest and all those good things. Content, and I probably should have put that in there 3 or 4 times, because content is kind of the big key here. Is you want a lot of content. You want your keywords in your content. Using video. Video is awesome. Sitemaps and robots text files. And we'll go over those a little bit further if you don't know what those are. Keywords or key phrases. Which ones do you use? Well, keywords are kind of used up nowadays. Keywords are kind of single words. Key phrases are a variation of 2, 3, 4, or more words to make up a phrase. So think about, think about if you're going to be searching for something. Let's see, we're going to be searching on how to optimize a picture. Now, if you're going to do a search for it, you're not going to search for the word optimize, or you're not going to search for the word picture. You're going to use some variation of both of those. And you'll see in bold here I have how to optimize pictures or optimize pictures for website. That's how you're going to search. That's how people do search. Think about how you search. If you're searching for something, you don't use a single word, because if you do, you're going to come up with a cajillion websites. You're going to put a phrase in there, and that phrase is your key phrase that you're going to key in on when you're writing your articles, when you're optimizing your images, and so on and so forth. So again, put yourself in their shoes. How are they going to be searching for you? What phrases are they going to use? Those are the terms you want to figure out, and those are the terms you want to use as your key phrases. And using the keywords you discover or you determine in the right places. If you discover new keywords, leverage them in the right places. Use them in your titles, your headings, those H tags, your URLs, your content, image names, image alt text, links, so on and so forth. Optimizing images. So optimizing images is pretty vital to websites nowadays, because Google will penalize you, and I'm sure others will, if your website loads fairly slow. So your image titles must use your keywords. So when you're naming a picture before you upload it to your website, rename it to use a keyword that you're going to use on your website. Don't just upload a file DSC055. Because it just doesn't make sense to anybody, including search engines. Rename it to, again, if it's a picture about optimizing websites, rename the picture, optimize website, background, or whatever the picture is showing. But use your keywords in there. Alt text. We'll get into that a little bit further. But alt text is well, it's specifically for people with screen readers. But if an image doesn't load, I'm sure you've seen there was a description. There was a series of words there that kind of told you what that image was supposed to be. That's the alt text, and those are pretty important because search engines use those to determine what the picture is actually about. And again, your images must load quickly. And there are ways to optimize images. JPGs can be saved as progressives. They can be compressed a little bit, and their quality can be adjusted a little bit to make the file size smaller and to make them load quicker. You don't ever want to upload an image, like a full-size image from a digital camera, the 2,000 and whatever pixels by 1,000 whatever pixels, because it's just too big. You want to reduce those down to a size that's a little bit more website friendly, which would be like 640 by 480s or somewhere along those lines, because they'll take forever to load. So Okay, how and where to optimize. So there's numerous ways to optimize images. If you have Photoshop, GIMP, and I believe we'll be talking about GIMP a little bit further on. GIMP is a free alternative to Photoshop, and you can also do it online. Just do a search for optimized images, and you'll come up with some websites where you browse for your image, and it'll optimize it, and then you download the optimized image. So when it comes to images, remember your file names should have no spaces. Dashes and underscores are fine. Spaces you should not have in image names. Suitable formats are JPEGs, GIFs, PNGs, BMPs, TIFFs, that's with a T, TIFF. Those don't work. So stick with the standard JPEGs, GIFs, PNGs. Again, I mentioned before, if it's a JPEG, it should be a progressive. That you'll notice that when you go to a website, if the picture slowly shows itself, that's a progressive. A PNG 8 is better as far as file size than a 24, but honestly, I've had better luck with the 24s, so I deal with the 24s, and I probably take a hit because of it. Images should be saved in the smallest file size possible. Now that doesn't mean, you know, a 10 pixel by 10 pixel. That means like a 640 by 480 progressive with the quality adjusted down slightly so it doesn't blur the picture, so it doesn't distort it. The picture's still good enough to view, and what that does is when you adjust the quality, it reduces the actual file size down. And images for the web, it shouldn't really be anything over 72 dots per inch. I believe there are some new screen readers and stuff like that. Or not screen readers, but new apps and stuff that will read higher. But right now, you could stick with a 72 because it's just not going to display any better on the internet than 72 is going to give you anyway. Heading tags, those are the H tags that I was mentioning. Use an H tag in your content to bring emphasis to your first line. So if you're writing an article, your very first line should have your keyword in it, your key phrase, and it should be an H tag. So you'll see here I've got a little blurb, you know, without any H tags. It's just kind of like I'm writing an article here and there's no H tags. And you'll see there's no emphasis. It's just kind of boring, if you will. This next one, you can see the first line has an H tag, big, bold, and it shows the search engines that it's a little bit more important than the rest, and it also has my keywords in it, which is extremely important. You want the keywords in your first sentence, and you also want it bold and telling the search engines, hey, this is what it's about, and my keywords are in it. And again, I just mentioned use your keywords in the first sentence, and if you're not sure what the H tags look like as far as the HTML goes, it's right there. You've got the H2 tag, then the sentence, and then the closing H2 tag. You can use H1s if you want, but I find H1s are just a little too large in my content. They're just too large, take up too much space. I find the H2s work well. You can use H3s, H1s, or H4s rather, but I find the H2s work really well. Internal linking. Now, if you're writing an article, again, we'll use like optimizing a website, and I've already written an article about optimizing a website. What I should do is I should link from one to the next. That does two things. That gives my readers, you know, more content to go to so that they can, you know, read more of my articles. But it also gives search engines a clue that there's more information on it within my website, number one, but also that those internal links give it weight. The search engines actually will give you higher rankings if you have your content linked within your website like that. And also, the key to linking within your website is using what's called anchor text. And you can see that first one right there is a bad way to do your links. Click here for my other article. That doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell the search engines anything. The next one down below says, read my other article, how I fought off a grizzly bear with a dead squirrel. And you can see that that whole thing is a link, and when you hover over it, there's a little text that shows up when you hover over it, and that's called the title tag, and that's we'll talk about that next. But you'll notice that link is a little bit more descriptive than the first one, and let's just assume grizzly bear is the keyword in that particular sentence. So grizzly bear is within that link, and it's descriptive, so the search engines will give that a little bit more weight. So looking at the HTML tags, you'll see in red is the actual URL that the link points to. The title, which is green there, learn how I fought off a grizzly bear, is that little is a little text that shows up when you hover over a link. That's called the title. And again, grizzly bear is my keyword in there. And so I've used it within that title tag also, and the search engines will look at that. And then in blue is the anchor text, which is the words that you read, and they will be in blue typically for links. And those are the words you actually read. And again, grizzly bear is my keyword, and it's within that phrase. Okay, backlinks. Backlinks are links that come from other websites to your website. And backlinks, I mean, sometimes you have no control over them. If you've written an article that people want to link to, that's awesome, and you have no control about where it's coming from. But if you're trying to create backlinks, you want to go to places that are directly related or closely related to your website. If it's plants, go to plant forums. If it's optimizing websites, go to websites that kind of deal with optimizing other websites. And usually the forums, you can have signatures in your, they'll give you signatures so that every time you make a post, your signature shows up. Well, within your signature, if they allow it, you should put a link back to your website with your keyword as the anchor text, so that whatever you post on those forums or other websites that allows you to have the signature, you're getting a link back to your website, and that's called a backlink. And down below there, it says it's vital you provide useful information if you're posting to forums or even on other websites. Don't spam the forums just for the backlinks. It's just not good. You can actually contribute and give good information. The best way to get backlinks, and I just touched on this a little bit prior, is if you write an article or content that absolutely everybody on the planet wants to link back to. That is absolutely wonderful. And it's commonly known as link bait. And I haven't been able to do that yet. I've tried to work on it. If you get lucky and figure it out, contact me and let me know how you did it. But it's one of those articles that, you know, it just gets hundreds, thousands of links back to it because it just has so much good information that people just have to share it. Okay, links from your website to other websites is also a good thing to have. So using the sentence down here below, again, how I fought off a grizzly bear with a dead squirrel, it has my key phrase in it, but it's linking to another website that has an article about a guy fighting off a grizzly bear with a dead squirrel. So if you're linking to other websites that are similar to yours, that also will help you with your SEO. Now, this is a link from the website that goes to somebody else's website. So again, in red is the address of the other website. And there's that title. That title is that text that shows up when you hover over it, and that title's in green right there. So learn how, well, I forgot to change that, but it says learn how I fought off a grizzly bear. Actually, that's the same exact slide as the previous one. I've got to change that. But again, you'd need your key phrases and keywords in there. And the one thing to key in on right here is the where it says target equals _ blank. Now, there's some debate over this. Some people believe that if somebody wants to open up another web page or a tab, they can do it on their own, and you shouldn't force them to do it. I feel I'm going to do it for them because I want them to stay on my website. You know, it's 6 and 1, half a dozen the other. But that target blank is what is going to open up another tab. So if you're manually creating your links and you want to open up another tab and keep the people on your website, use that target blank. So I just talked a little bit about that right there. That's that target blank that's going to be within your URL if you manually create it. You can also do it if you create it through what's called a WYSIWYG editor. There's a way to open up those links in a new tab or new page. Video. And I'm sure you folks have heard of YouTube, and millions of people a day visit YouTube to watch videos. Some of the videos are awesome. Some of them are just absolutely stupid, ridiculous. But people just go there anyway. So you can make videos, or you should make videos. And your video doesn't have to be Hollywood quality. It can be screencasts like what we're doing here. Camera phones are getting better and better. Digital cameras. I've got a digital camera here on the desk I carry with me all over the place. Webcams, so you can do a web. So in your video description on YouTube, you should have a link to your website, because if somebody's watching your video, you want them to be able to come back to your website. So there should be a link in your video description. And at YouTube, you're going to have to put the HTTP link. You're not going to be able to put, use keywords or whatever. You're just going to have to use the HTTP or the www. Embedding videos on your website is a great way to keep the visitors on your website. And give them great content too. And it doesn't have to be your video. It can be somebody else's video, but obviously your videos would be better. What the heck is a sitemap? We touched on that a little bit before, sitemaps. Now there are two types of sitemaps, one for your visitors and one for search engines. And the search engines is the one we really want to talk about, but the first one's kind of important too. But we're gonna key in on the second one. So there's a address where you can build your own sitemap. Now this is if you're going to do it manually. You then upload the sitemap to your root folder on your website via FTP. And some of this might be a foreign language to you folks, and if it is, I apologize. Some website platforms like WordPress, which is what I prefer. I will not build another website other than WordPress anymore. I just love it. They have add-ons which are called plugins that will automatically produce and update the sitemap for you. The thing with sitemaps is if you build it manually, every time you add a page, you have to rebuild it and re-upload it, which, that can be a pain. Robots text. A robots text file is essentially just a way to tell robots to stay out of particular folders. Now, it doesn't force them to stay out, it asks them to stay out, and they actually have to be honest enough to honor it. Some of them won't, and there's really nothing you can do about it. But there's a link right there and more info link about robots text. And don't worry, I'm going to have this video available to you folks in your members page. So if you're missing this or I'm going a little too fast, this video will be available for you to check out. So robots text, again, it kind of tells robots where not to go. That's kind of a great way to use a robots text file. So I give right here an explanation. If you have a downloads folder that you're trying to keep robots out of, because evidently you don't want crawlers to crawl your downloads folder, and when somebody does a search, all of a sudden your download shows up and you're not getting credit or you're paid for it or whatever. You don't want that stuff showing up. Okay, links from your website. I think we touched on this just a little bit. You need to use anchor text and make sure that you're not linking to a spammy website. Every once in a while, check your links. I mean, websites change, domains change hands. It's just, just every once in a while, just check and make sure that the site is still a reputable site. If it's not, remove the link, because you will get penalized if it's a spammy or a really, really bad site. Content. So content needs to have your keywords in it, key phrases that we spoke about. Again, in your first sentence, and that first sentence should be bolded with the H tags. Use the keywords in the content, but don't overuse it. Again, if you read it and you're like, man, they just keep repeating that word over and over and over again, that's too much. You want it natural. 3 to 4 times in, like a 300 to 400 word article is probably fine. It actually might be a little overdoing it. You might want to stick with the 3, but that's about what you want. And make sure to spell check and do a grammar check before you actually make the article live. Because it's nothing worse than somebody reading an article and it's got misspellings or the grammar, or it's just totally screwed up, because the person reading it might not come back, and a search engine reading it will penalize it a little bit, because it's just shoddy workmanship. Make sure you do the spell check and stuff before it's live. I mean, it's a very simple thing to do. An article, a good article for SEO should be a minimum of like 300 words. Pictures are advisable to use in there, because that gives not only your reader something to look at and relate to the story, but you can use the picture. You can use the keywords in the picture as far as your title and your alt tags and that sort of thing. So that actually helps. And here's a big one. Make sure your readers can actually understand what you've written. I've seen websites that are like so technical, the only people that can actually read them would be like scientists, doctors, or whatever. And I'm sitting here like, but, I wanted to know what you were talking about too. And there's a nice little thing down below here. The average reading level is a 7th or 8th grade level. So think about that. 7th or 8th grade, they don't use any, huge words or fancy anything or other. So if you want to be found 100 times easier, and who doesn't, build a large website. So right here it says a 500-page website is 100 times more likely to be found than a 5-page website. So let that sink in for a second. If you want to be found 100 times easier, have a lot of articles, pages, posts, whatever your particular platform calls it. So building a big website with lots of pages and especially using SEO on all of them will undoubtedly result in you getting better search results. I mean, that's the whole point of SEO, is getting better search results, and doing SEO on all your pages is just, common sense. So what I have found is one of the easiest ways to increase your SEO is using WordPress as a website platform. I absolutely love WordPress, and so don't search engines. In fact, when you add a new post, it says content, but what it is a post in WordPress. WordPress actually goes out and lets the search engines know. And it's called pinging. It goes and lets them know that you've got new content. So think about that. Your website actually goes and gets the attention of the search engines by poking a stick in their eye and taunting them and saying, hey, we just got some new stuff over here. Come check it out. And so what will happen is the crawler will come check your website out because it's been notified. If it doesn't get notified, the search engine might not come around for weeks, months. It might take them a long time to come back to your website and figure out, oh, wait a minute, he's added 15 pages since we've been here last. WordPress will actually go out and let them know, hey, we've added new stuff. And then there are add-ons. Again, I told you before, they're called plugins. And one of them in particular, I use for my SEO, and it's called WordPress SEO by Yoast. And it actually will tell you what you need to do. Well, let me go back one page. So it'll tell you what you need to do. It'll give you a green light when your content, when your page is optimized well enough for it to pass their analysis. It's got 4 different colors. It's got red, which is obviously you need to work on it. Orange, which means it needs help. Yellow, which means, yeah, it's not so bad. And green means good. So it actually will tell you, it'll give you a little indicator to tell you where you're at as far as your SEO goes. And then another thing I do is I read my visitors' minds. And I don't do this the way Johnny Carson used to do it, putting on the little tinfoil hat or anything. What I do is I use a little feature in WordPress called the Site Stats. It's a little analytics feature. And what I do is I go and figure out what my visitors have been searching for and how they get to my website. And what I'll do is I'll look through all those keywords and phrases to see if I'm actually using them. And if I'm not using them, I will use them. I'll either update an article that I previously published with the keywords, or I'll write a whole new one using the keywords. So here's an example right here. SEO, search engine optimization, optimize website, optimize for search engines, how to optimize, rank better search results, and organic search results. They're all pretty much variations of the same thing. So what I could do is, if I already had a few articles on, search engine optimization, that specific key phrase, I could use the words optimize website within the article. Not too many times, but I could mention it once. I could use, how to optimize within the article. I can use different variations of those keywords and phrases within one article. I wouldn't jam every one of them within one article, but I could use a few. And that's what I would do. I would choose one of them, though, to be my main keyword or key phrase that I use in the titles and the H headings, the H tags. But again, I'd toss in 1 or 2 of the others just within the content. And I've written a report on how I read my visitor's mind exactly, and it's available for download at that address. And there's some other suggestions for SEO. Create a Google account, Google Plus account, and post to it. I posted something the other day. I can't remember exactly what it was. Oh, I think it was about my Kindle cover templates, my ebook templates. Posted it on Google Plus the other day. And then about 3 days later, 2-3 days later, I was searching, just doing a search for ebook cover templates, and my Google Plus post was actually on the first page. I was kind of surprised. So Google Plus account, will actually help with SEO. Google Webmaster account. In your Webmaster account, you can let Google know the address of your website so that their crawlers can go and crawl it. Google Analytics, another thing. I don't know exactly if the Webmaster account or Analytics help, but it can't hurt because you're actually telling Google, hey, I have these accounts, I have these websites, and so they're aware of it. Claim your business on Google Places. If your website deals with your business, Google Places is a place to go to claim your business and to put a little ad there, and those are coming up higher and higher in search results. So you can do that. Add a Google map on your website, usually on your About Us or contact page. Again, you're drawing from Google's actual servers, so they know that you have a website. I mean, it can't hurt to have some of their products on your website. If you're using Gmail, again, it's a Google product. Add a signature that goes out with every email you send and put a link back to your website, because Google does scan Gmail, and they will know that there's a link back to your website. So in conclusion, search engine optimization doesn't have to be difficult or expensive. Yeah, it does have to be done consistently, and it does take time. So, for more information about website optimization, you can download that report called Optimizing Your Website for Better Search Results for absolutely free on your members page by going to DwayneHaskell.com/login, and you will use the information that you actually signed up for this webinar with. And does anybody have any questions? I don't think anybody has microphones, so that you can type questions by going to the little speech bubble icon over to the left on that little, the speech bubble to the left. And you open that up, and you can actually type a question in there if you have any questions. I'll wait a few minutes here to see if you folks have questions. All right, I don't see any questions popping up. So thanks for sticking with me. And as I said, there's some free downloads and such. And if you log into your members page, you'll find the free report, the Optimizing Your Website for Better Search Results report. And within a few days, you should find hopefully this video. If not this video, if for some reason it didn't record, I'll just have to put up a video without the audio. And then again, also available as my secret to getting more targeted traffic. And that one's not free, but that one is definitely available if you're looking to find ways to get more targeted traffic by reading your visitors' minds. So that's the end of the, I'll put that screen back up. That's the end of the webinar. So I don't see any questions coming up. So I'm going to conclude the webinar, and I appreciate you sticking with me. And if you wouldn't mind sending me an email at haskelldwayne@gmail.com, or you could log into your members page and use the contact form. Shoot me an email to let me know how the webinar went, and if it could be improved somewhere. I would appreciate that. So have a good night. Thank you very much.